morning, students. Uh, in this video, through this video, I will discuss about the adaptation of hydrophytes. Okay, so what is hydrophytes? What are hydrophytes? Hydrophytes are the plants which lives inside the water. Okay, that means the plants which is directly associated with the water, we call them as the hydrophytes. Okay, so hydrophytes plants are basically of three types. Okay, first is floating plants, second is submerged plants, and final one is fixed plants. Okay, so we will discuss the three plants and the adaptation of this one by one. Okay, so let's start with the floating plants. Okay, so what are the floating plants? Some of the plants in our environment, we find them, they just float on the water surface. Okay, that means the plants which present in the water surface but they actually float on the water surface are called as the floating plants. Okay, the main examples of these plants are, some of the plants which are included in this are water hyacinth, duckweed, okay, and several other plants also. Okay, they are floating plants. Okay, so what are the characters, that means what are the adaptation of these plants? So the first adaptation, the most important adaptation, that is they have a glossy and thick waxy like structure, okay, on the leaves. Okay, that means their upper surface of the plant leaves are glossy and waxy layer, that means the coat, kind of waxy coating present on the leaves. Why this is so? Because they lives in the water. So okay, and the water cannot stay on the leaves of that plant. Okay, because if it does, then there will be problems in the process of photosynthesis as well as in the process of other biological plants action. Okay, so to prevent this action, they have that kind of waxy coating like structure which prevents the plant to restore water on it. That means water is actually roll off from the leaves of that particular plant. Okay, so this is the main one of the important adaptation of the water hyacinth, that is the floating plants. Okay, next, the important characters, that is the petioles of this plant. We know petioles is the part which attach the leaves to the stem. Okay, so the petioles of these plants are full of air, that means there are lots of air cavities present in the petioles. Okay, and what these petioles does, these petioles helps the plants to float. That means that it helps the plant body to float on the water because they have air in it. Okay, so this is the one of the most important adaptation for this plant, and along with this, these petioles helps in the gaseous exchange process too. That means the CO2 and O2 balance is actually determined by the presence of these petioles, which actually helps to float the plants on the water body. Okay. Next, the roots. For the roots are fibrous root which actually helps the plant to move freely with the water current. Okay, and it absorbs the nutrients present in the water required for the plant body. Okay, so that is also an important adaptation for this plant. And one more important, which is about the stem. The stem is very short for this plant, and it has some special outgrowth, or we can say special stems branching of it, which is called as offset. These offset actually grows from the stem, okay, from the base of the stem, and they produce a large number of individual plants within a very short times. Okay, and this is the disadvantage of these plants too, because where the plant situated in the water body, whenever the reproduction happens, that means the population gets increased, it causes less availability for the other water organisms that live in that particular space. Okay, so this is a disadvantage. Okay, so these are the four adaptation of the floating plants. Okay, the example being the water hyacinth, duckweed, okay, bladderwort, etc. Okay, next we will be discussing about the submerged plants. Okay, so what are the submerged plants? These plants, it is also hydrophyte, it totally dissolves inside the water. Okay, that means the plants which totally resides under the water is called as the submerged plants. The typical example being the Hydrilla and Vallisneria. So what are the adaptation found in these plants? They have the stem of these plants are very slender and flexible. Okay, because these plants has to move with the water current. Okay, so the stem needs to be very flexible, and the stem does exactly that purpose. Okay, the stem is very flexible and it's very thin, which allows the plant to move or to transfer or to transport with the water current. Okay, so this is the first criteria. Next, the function of the root of these plants is just to attach the plants with the soil. Okay, underground soil. Okay, so this is the main part of this, the function of the root. Okay, just to attach the plant with the soil. Okay, and the one more thing, the roots actually does not that much involved in absorbing the nutrients. Okay, rather what happen in this plant, the entire body of the plant is involved in taking up nutrients from the water. Okay, so there is a liberty for these plants, that is the whole parts of the body can absorb nutrient from the water root, from its surrounding, that is the under the water. Okay, so it's a very unique adaptation of these plants found in it. Okay, and the entire body can absorb also water, and then it can also absorb the nutrients from it. And the leaves of these plants are very short. Okay, it is also a very important adaptation. The leaves are very short and they are very kind of serrated structure, very, very short. Why? Because the plants lives inside the water. Okay, so it need to produce its food, but the availability, and we know the what is the bare necessity to produce food is sunlight. Okay, unless with the inavailability of sunlight, the food cannot be made by the plants. But in case of these plants, they are they are always submerged in the under the water. So sunlight not every time reaches under the surface of the water. Okay, so that means reaches always, but the intensity of the sunlight will not be the same as that of the land plants. Okay, the terrestrial plants. So this plant needs to have that that energy, that sun energy, the light energy. Okay, so for serving this purpose, the leaves are very short. Okay, and by this process, it can photosynthesize even with a very little amount of sunlight. Okay, so this is the main reason behind this particular characters. The leaves are short enough, very little leaves, just to take out just to absorb the sunlight and to produce the food within a very little sunlight available. Okay, and that's why the transpiration does not happen in this plant. Okay, because in case of transpiration, the water will be lost. Okay, and the entire body is actually involved in the gaseous exchange process. Okay, so these are the main adaptation of these plants, that is the Hydrilla or the Vallisneria, that is the submerged plant. Okay, next, the third hydrophytes that I'm going to discuss is the fixed plant. Okay, the fixed plant is the most important and most common example is lotus. Okay, lotus, water lily, these are the examples of fixed plant. So what are the adaptation found in these particular plants? The leaves of these particular plants are very big, very broad. Okay, and the leaves does not allow water to reside on it because they have a waxy like structure. So whenever the water just place on it, they are roll off. Okay, that means the leaves don't allow the water to stay on the upper side of the leaf. Okay, and the upper side of the leaf has numerous stomata to process the transpiration. Okay, so this is the main one of the few adaptation of very important adaptation found in the fixed plants. Okay, and there have the leaves have the very presence of numerous presence of air cavities in it, which serves as not only to serve the purpose to float the plant, but it also serves to the function to gaseous exchange also. That means it also serves in the formation of carbon dioxide and CO2. Not only that, it also serves to equalize the balance of CO2 and O2 in the land body. Okay, so this is one of the very important characters of this fixed plant. Okay, the roots of these plants are directly reaches up to the soil. Okay, and the leaves are long. We have already told the leaves are long, slender and spongy. Petioles of them hold it above the water. Okay, so the petioles is just leaves. The stem is very long because the root has to reach the water, reach the soil level, so the stem has to be very big in length. Okay, and the broad leaves have the thick waxy layer, what I have already told. These don't allow the water to reside on it. Actually, it allows the water to roll off from it. Okay, and the upper surface is numerous stomata, I have already told, and the lower surface a submerged stem. Lower surface has a submerged stem, and they do not have the cuticle and absorbs water from the nutrients. Okay, so these are the basic structure, basic adaptation of the fixed plant. Okay, the main examples of which is the water lily, lotus, this kind of plants. Okay, the leaves are very broad, they are full of air cavities, they allows the plants to float. Okay, they allows the plant to exchange of gases. The stem are very slender and very in length of the stem is very big. Okay, the upper surface of the leaves don't allow the water, actually allow the water to roll off from it. It has a numerous stomata. The undersurface don't have stomata. Okay, and the stem do not have a cuticle, and it can absorb water from the nutrients. Okay, so that is the three hydrophytes. I have discussed the adaptation of the three hydrophytes. It's a very important topic. Okay, in the next video we'll be discussing some more topics. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for watching the video. To know more about us, click www.stxavierspublicschool.com. If you like our video, then share and subscribe, please.